Into the motions. We have motion M, and Maggie is going to present that motion.
I have to say, President, I think I could probably sit down here because you seem to have covered most of this earlier on. But when Ewan first brought the idea of the Rights, Respect and Award to the Equalities group, we were split into two groups. Those who'd heard of this and the majority who hadn't. A short discussion then clarified our thinking. This is not about the rights that pupils think they have. You know, the ones like the right to sit next to their pal, or the right to have a drink of their bottle of Iron Brew when you're teaching, or even the right to go to the toilet 5 minutes into the lesson straight after lunchtime. It's much, much deeper than that. This is developed by UNICEF and embeds the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child into the heart of each school. It's about a much deeper understanding of what the rights are for each child in Scotland today. So, for example, the right to life, to nationality, to family. The right to an education, to free speech and to protection from abuse. The right to refuge, equality and care. Protection from drugs, from abuse and from torture. It is the duty of government to ensure all of these things happen. We can play our part in educating our pupils in all of these areas and more. An impact analysis was carried out over 3 years by the universities of Sussex, Brighton, after schools had been accredited with the Rights, Respect and Skill Award, and it produced some really interesting results. 97% of head teachers stated that the rights, respect and skills had a positive impact on relationships and behaviour within their schools. 97% of head teachers working on the Rights, Respect and Skills Award felt that children and young people had developed a greater respect for themselves and for others. 93% of head teachers saw an improvement in pupil engagement and in learning. And 93% of head teachers noted a more positive attitude towards diversity. It is the very essence of Curriculum for Excellence for education to develop young people who are confident, respectful and responsible citizens. So why are all schools not working on gaining and maintaining being a rights respecting school? Colleagues, friends, I urge you to support this motion.
Do we have a seconder? Thank you. And if anybody else wishes to speak, please come to the front.
Susan Thorburn, delegate number 74, part of the Equalities panel. I would like to endorse this motion and to say that it's one of the best things that I've ever encountered in my teaching career, which is growing by the years. As we were told, it's based on 5 principles: equality, dignity, respect, non-discrimination and participation. I would cite the last as being one of the greatest tools that I have currently within my qualities and within my classroom. When I began the journey in our school for the Rights Responsive School, it was actually pupil-led. It was pupils who came to me and said, "We want to do this." And together we have moved forward. Today, in this climate of restorative practice in our classrooms, the fact that pupils can say with confidence, we have these rights, but also we have responsibilities that go with them. And the fact that they can recognise that teachers have rights and responsibilities too, in my book, is a great move forward. Over the years, as I've journeyed with many groups of pupils, their understanding of rights and responsibilities has grown, and I would urge you to consider accepting this motion with great urgency. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Janine McCulloch, Delegate 45 South Lanarkshire. I would also urge you to support this motion, just from personal experience. I am maybe what many people would traditionally have called me a behaviour management teacher. I have taught the high tariff youngsters and the youngsters who in your classes show persistent low-level misbehaviour. And I do it in mainstream, and I have a base where youngsters come out and get taught separately. Very recently, I've introduced a health and wellbeing programme that is completely linked to a rights-based learning programme as well. And I have been absolutely astounded by the impact that that course has had on my youngsters. So much so that I've taken it out to the youngsters that were working in outreach in mainstream schools. And the reason is we often approach behaviour from the point of view of looking at it and looking at responsibility. We've recently, just through this programme, started to approach things completely differently, from rights that are unconditional. You do not have to earn them. And the youngsters are very accepting of that. Then when we come back to the behaviour and say, your behaviour is denying somebody else their rights, which you told me you had these rights. Suddenly they went, they had eureka moments. And it was a much, much better way of approaching behaviour with a young person. So just from personal experience, very recently, I hadn't really heard of rights-based learning up to 2 years ago. Having used it within schools, it's having an astounding impact on my youngsters, and they're very much the youngsters that you don't particularly want to have in your classroom. So it is having an impact. So please support this motion.
Thank you very much to the Equalities panel for bringing that motion, and there's nothing to reply, so I'd ask to move to the vote. Could I see hands for those in favour? And those against? Any abstentions? NEMCON. Carried NEMCON. Thank you very much.